The frequency of my posts have been somewhat less than before, but that doesn't mean I'm not thinking about things, and I don't take this medium, the YouTube medium, seriously. I take it quite seriously, which is why I still post. I have debated about posting frequently in the last year from the point of view that there is very little. Okay, let me say it this way. There is a real sense of frustration among YouTubers I like, people I listen to, quite a number of them, that feel totally ineffective within the scheme of things. From the point of view that you might be getting thousands and thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands of views on a YouTube video, but it doesn't really feel like it's making a difference. And it's an issue. I think it's an issue that we are committed, we're passionate, we're interested, we're dedicated to getting a result in some form or other, especially on this fight, this Fukushima fight, the dreaded red, as I call it. It's not black and yellow, it's red and black, satanic. Not that they're satanic colors, but the Satanist types, the clan of those who have a romance with the Grim Reaper, love this color combination. I actually love this color combination too at certain times. But my point is, there is a sensibility within this medium, or people that are sensitive within this medium, not just reporting the facts, ma'am, not just the facts, but have a sense of themselves of having accomplished a level of insight, I suppose, is what creates some sort of outrage. I hear it all the time with different people, and the go-to phrase is wake up, please. Or you bastards, you sheep, you idiot, you imbeciles, wake up. It's like, you see, this doesn't work. The wake up syndrome is so flawed. It is so flawed. Okay, and here is my comment today, what I've been thinking about, what always goes back to stuff that I talked about before, and that is what I sense as being reality. And what does it mean to be real? To have experiences, to be involved in something, to have that sense of connection to something. And what is that? In terms of what we have been hijacked by culture and all the institutions within culture, like scientific institutions and religious institutions and social networks and social, all that activity isn't actually real. Yes, I'll say it's not real. We have been captured by an activity that is not real. So how do we anchor? How do we anchor reality in order to have this sense of accomplishment, something that feels like I'm having an effect? Where does that begin? How do I feel myself justified, if I need that word, I'm not sure that's the right word, but that my existence is relevant? And I think this is to honest YouTubers. I think this is a real concern. If they're being honest about what they're expressing and exposing, generally speaking, it's all about the facts, ma'am, out there. This is the great activity that is going on that people are yearning for, addicted to, what the man is up to out there. And my conclusion is we lose reality the more we are concentrated on the man's story. And I say the man's story for good reason. It is a man's story. And anyone like Jordan Peterson who'd like to tell you that just many more men die in wars and many more men are in prison and many more men suffer the consequences of the privileges and benefits they seem to have, this is not an argument. This is something that has been established in society, that the boys run the show, the club, the clan, the Masonic clan, for example, or the Knights of Columbus clan, or the Templar clan, or the whoever the clan might be, the clan of all religions. They all have the boys running the show. There is no woman involved. So come on, Jordan Peterson, get off your kick about this is not a man's run show. It is. Now, I'm not saying that women are not complicit in this, but this motivation seems to come from the male side of things. Okay, don't get lost in translation. Anchoring, anchoring reality. And I make my YouTubes with the intention, with with the hope. I mean, in the sense that I am connected to you out there, to the world out there. I'm connected. That I want to build something that is through my experience, wholesome. Um, it's a generative process. We are alive, and we are driven in some form or other by generating, whether it's emotion or what appears to happen out there in the real world. We have a proclivity to want to be involved and generate something of value, which is why I paint. I make paintings. And behind that feeling is I'm generating something that hasn't been there before that may actually have some relevance. I have that faith. I have that faith that it has some relevance. So anchoring reality is what I'm going to make a brief comment about. Something that a lot of YouTubers that I like, I sense are not really experiencing, that they feel that connection. Okay, you can make comments and get, oh, that's so terrific, or even what they call the troll thing where they punish you. There is a satisfaction on both ends. The idea of being criticized and the idea of being lauded or held up, it's fundamentally the same thing. And what is the same is that nothing is actually happening out there. That's right. Nothing is happening out there. And what is it that is actually of any significance that's happening? What I've always said is it needs to come from something within. And how, now I'm going to articulate what it is that is this within thing that I keep saying. Okay, you can have, like, I was talking to Maria about this when she's teaching somebody to reach their own voice, to have a sense of themselves through their voice, singing, making sound that is actually superb, sublime even. What does that mean? And there's a lot of language connected to it that makes no sense to the student. So there is demonstration obviously involved, and not having a lot of word noise about what it is that makes a certain thing work better, because people relate to words not in an experiential way, but more intellectual. It's a distant thing. So here, the inner thing. I'm going to comment on this idea of what is that inner thing that happens, because nothing is happening out there until something happens within. And what is that? So my thought today about anchoring reality, in other words, making it real, making reality real. There's an oxymoron or something here. Okay, a double, whatever it is, but creating an inner world that actually reflects itself in the outer world. How do we do that? So my conclusion, my thought about this is the way for the most part, a large portion of my day is involved in going within and creating representations that reflect that inner world. It's an activity. It's an activity that anchors me into the real world. So something is actually happening in the real world that makes sense. Are you following my way of thinking here? It's like just to spout about the bastards and how they're misbehaving and the miscreants and the imbeciles and all that kind of stuff is irrelevant unless it comes from some sort of anchored reality. And so how do we anchor this? And I say we need to find an activity that reflects ourselves. And it's not just exposing the bastards. I'm saying go ahead and have your fight. Have your fight. Go and do whatever it is you do, but don't expect anyone to jump on board of your fight, because it's not that fight people will appreciate. It's that sense of that self, that inner self that is reflected out there. And I'm telling you that the hijacking on this, the icons that are presented to us that supposedly have done this inner work and appear sublime to us on a screen, on a stage, in a whatever propagated thing that is, it is just incredible. It's like after a while, it is so pathetic the people that are held up that haven't done anything of this, what I'm talking about, to anchor reality in activity that actually is significant in our day-to-day lives in some form. So I'm saying we have to find some kind of an activity. I think usually it's activity. It's very rare have I seen the notion of the meditative person, whatever that means. I have no clue what meditation is, the way that it's talked about. Like I say, Maria says you can tell a voice student all the words connected to knowing how to sing, but it doesn't make any difference. So the same way, this word meditate, what the hell is meditation? Yeah, and the sitting on a rock kind of idea, maybe there is an individual out there. He was called Siddhartha. He was sitting on a rock and he had the epiphany and emanated this anchored reality within, around him for thousands of miles. So it may be. I personally haven't had that experience. I think I meet more people that are anchored in reality through an activity that reflects a resolution. This is important too, that inner world has been addressed and is reflected outside. So let's say you have a garden patch. This is sort of a very beautiful thing. I've never really thought about this. Now, of course, if you're making paintings, you're evolved, you're high. But if you have a garden patch and you really diligently have that connection with the creatures, the microscopic creatures in the soil, the birds, everything that contributes to making this enterprise flourish. This comes from an inner world, anchored in you're anchoring the real world. That's how I see it. An activity that is so significant to one's growth. I can invoke a lot of different words that reflect this, this deeper sense of self that actually makes a world out there what it is. So without this, here's the consequence. If we are not anchored through an activity, an inner activity, it is very likely that everything around us will also feel very dysfunctional. And there'll be thoughts and discussions and arguments about, okay, what is real, what is not real? Now, this is the red pill, blue pill thing going on. What is it that actually we can, if I were to reflect on that which is the most real of real, the only conclusion I have come to is what I feel within myself. And that whatever happens out there, all you truthers, it's a moving target. It is actually changing rapidly all the time. And when I say rapidly, 10, 20, 30 years is quite fast, is actually very rapid on significant issues. Let's say like for morality, there were people adhering to a behavior that is considered totally immoral to us now, but 100 years ago or 150 years ago, like slavery, was considered a moral activity. It was actually part of the canon of behavior for a certain group of people on the planet that said, you are more equal than someone else or holier than someone else. So we practice, this thing is great. God blesses you. Yes, this is the blessing. Look at what does this mean? The symbol of this. So what is real is not the statutes or the statues we believe to be of significance without something that has anchored us to the real world. And then we'll be able to decipher and understand, which is, I understand the frustration in the YouTube community. A lot of people that feel, there's a kind of self-righteousness too in being able to identify the miscreants. Well, it's not very difficult. Look, it's not hard to know when the bastards are doing what they're doing, and especially from the level of having taken us into a realm what is considered to be higher thought and mind and the ability to use an intellect in a certain way and create technologies that fundamentally destroy everything. That is not being anchored in reality. There's something not right here, because the reason it's not anchored is because it's going to disappear. We'll disappear with it, and all other creatures are also affected. So the frustration I understand, but also I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that nothing is going on out there until it happens in some way within us. We need to find that that grounding, that level of an activity, whatever it is to you, that is so important and connects you to something that whether or not anyone else says, oh, fabulous, wonderful, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It has to come from from making that decision. And it happens over time. It doesn't happen just because I feel like I wanted to be there. Like everyone's an artist now. Everyone that goes to art school is an artist. And they have like 2,500 graduates every year from every art school in every city. And everybody's an artist and is a fabulous artist. And it doesn't work that way. It's whether you are or not, you may be. I don't know. But the point is that unless this begins to filter out, this connection, this anchoring, filters out the activity that we've chosen and changes the things out there. Changes the things out there. Not just telling someone to change, but we change ourselves. I change myself. That's how it works. That's how it works. So whenever you make comments about the world out there, that when I listen to people I like, I love this amazing Polly. She does terrific. She does amazing research into the bastards, what's going on out there, and exposes it. And it's very helpful, but it will have no effect unless we actually connect to it in some way. And I think she's really connected to it. And her life probably is affected by the research and the understanding that she has. Or people like this other fellow I keep bringing up, Quantum of Conscience, Matt. He unravels the anomalies of reality as it is expressed to us. It's fabulous. It's perfect, but it won't matter. Because if you're sitting in your chair in some sort of isolated place, well, could be nice, I suppose, without having that, it's not just doing research and telling us the facts. There has to be something else. This is why he's frustrated. He says nobody's waking up, or the SGT, the Alex Jones, well, no, that's a whole different thing. Forget Jones. But like the SGT report guy, and how they feel so self-righteous in their knowledge of the truth, and they have Jesus and God on their side. Well, that's terrific. I'm glad God's on your side. But I want humanity to be the real humanity, the people that have the desire and inclination, the proclivity to dig deep within themselves and connect to the real world through themselves, not by finding it out there, but finding it in there. My thoughts today. Maybe I'll post a little more often. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm just you know, sort of like coming through this in my own sense of, you know, I've changed a lot since my early, you know, 2009 I started with my videos. So anyway, yeah, I'll leave it here.